Hey guys, welcome back. It's Rachel, and today I am planting my potatoes. So I wasn't originally planning on planting potatoes this year, but I was looking through my pantry a few weeks ago and I found two big bags of potatoes that had just completely started sprouting. And they're pretty much completely inedible at this point. And so I figured I might as well try planting them. At this point, I am a little worried that my region isn't cool enough for potatoes. I'm in upstate South Carolina, zone 7B. And potatoes need like mild weather, like a good chunk of mild weather. And according to my research via Google, they really need to come to harvest in not hot weather, which is what we get down here in the summers. It's gonna be up in the 90s come like June, July, right in there. So, assuming these potatoes are ready to harvest before then, they might actually be okay as long as I get them in the ground today. And so the other thing with potatoes is some of them you grow using the mounding method. So you would plant it in some soil, and then as it grows up, you mound soil around it so that more tubers can come out from the stem and you get more potatoes. And some potatoes are not meant to grow like that. And it's kind of hard. It's really hard actually to figure out which kind you have. And I think it's especially hard given the store-bought potatoes, because all this tells me is that these are russet potatoes. And there are a few different types of russet potatoes, and I've tried to figure out what kind I have based on like the kinds that are normally sold in stores. And it's even then it's still really, really unclear. So I am not going to mound because I think that it doesn't matter if you don't. It only matters if you're not supposed to and you do. So I might get a smaller harvest because of that, but at least I won't kill my plants. And this is all just a big experiment anyway. So we're going to put some potatoes in some bags and see how that goes. So I have here, these are potting soil bags, and basically I had one empty bag of potting soil, and so I kind of split some of the soil from fresh bags into, I have 4 bags here. One of them was empty, and then I put also some soil into these. I am a Starbucks barista, and so these are the bags that our beans come in, and so we have a ton of them to spare. They're a little small, I think, for potatoes. Like I might be able to put one plant in here, but I thought since they were free and I had them laying around, I might as well try. So I've got 2 of those, and I've got 4 of the big ones, and I think we're gonna try 2 potato plants per the big ones and 1 per the small ones, which is going to give me a total of 10 potato plants. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they grow. And then if any of you happen to know if store-bought potatoes like this need to be mounded or can be mounded, let me know. So I've rolled down the edges of this, and there's definitely room to mound up if that's a thing that I can do and if it'll help. Otherwise, they'll just be like this their whole lives. So I'm going to also try 2 different methods. I'm going to try planting cuttings, and I'm going to try planting whole potatoes. And originally, I had planned to do all cuttings so that I could control how many plants end up per bag, because each eye on this potato can potentially grow its own plant. So putting one of these could give me like 5 plants. And so I thought, okay, well, I can control it better by cutting. Unfortunately, most of my cuttings ended up molding, and that is really unfortunate. That's probably my bad for not washing my hands well enough and like touching all over them, not washing my knife well enough, that sort of thing. So I have 4 cuttings that are not molded and look good enough to plant, so we're going to plant those, and then we're going to plant a couple of whole potatoes, just to make sure that we're not dealing with that mold issue. And I might end up having to cut out some plants if I have too many. We'll see what happens with that, but for right now, we're going to assume that each of these big growths on a potato is going to be a plant, and we're not going to worry about everything else for now. So aside from using fresh potting soil, I am also adding a soil acidifier. I read online that potatoes not only like slightly acidic soil, but if your soil is too alkaline, potatoes are more prone to something called scab, which kind of disfigures the potato. So I added and mixed in the appropriate amount of this soil acidifier, and the rest of the nutrients are already in this fertilized potting mix. I'm sure it's not the best fertilizer, but it'll be good enough for these potatoes. And so basically all I'm going to do is take my potato, my handy dandy shovel, and bury it. I'm assuming this way is up. I have seen some of them, let me see. Yeah, so if you look at this one, this part's growing up, and then it's got these little roots coming out at the bottom. I know that you're supposed to put eye up, but since some of these, like especially this one, the way it was in the bag, it was the eye was down and the plant grew up anyway. So I'm gonna face it the way that it's already growing in this case. I'm gonna put 2 of these. One more important thing I forgot to mention is, since I'm planting in sealed plastic bags, I'm poking holes in the bottom of these bags for drainage. Otherwise, I would definitely end up with a moldy potato mush mess. Alright, well that is all the potatoes planted. All that's left to do is make sure to water them in, make sure they've got proper drainage holes, and then I'm going to set them out in the yard in full sun, and just let them go. So for some of these that were really tall, I went ahead and left these poking out of the soil. I don't know actually if that's what you're supposed to do or not, or if you're supposed to cover it all. I would really love some feedback from y'all if you know whether or not that needs to be covered all the way or not. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it as is. I still have quite a few potatoes left over. These are probably going to be composted. As much as I hate to do it, it feels like a waste, right? It does. It really is serving you in the end. These are going to be great nutrients for future plants. Moldy, moldy potatoes. Right in there. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys have a really good rest of your weekend, and I will see you next time. Happy gardening.
Thank you guys for watching.